Hello, if you can hear me, let me know. If you can't, I'll find out soon enough. Give me a sec, hold up, let me set up my stuff. If you're here, just let me know if my audio is loud enough. I'm turning up my settings now. Gonna sound check. If you're listening in post, if you're watching this as a VOD after tonight, feel free to skip ahead. The timer's on the screen to let you know when we're done vamping and talking about whatever we do as we prep. Awesome. Hey, you're already here. Hello. Cool. Awesome. Glad you can make it. Welcome, welcome. I just got home like 5 minutes ago. So I ran through. I ran to the kitchen, got a cup of tea, and then ran up here. So I'm literally I sat down 2 minutes ago. I'm doing my thing. Let's see who's in chat. We have the QB Master. Welcome back. Thank you for always checking my sound. Welcome back, Mango Cheesecake. Welcome back, Thumper. You guys are always so good to see. We have the author of Mall Kids. Say hello to Matthew Gravelin, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Already in chat well before the stream starts. I'm going to post a link to this stream over on Twitter while I still have a second to do that. I'm glad you guys could be here. Excited to read this. I have all of 3 minutes and 13 seconds or something before I have to talk about the game. Link on Twitter. How fast can I set up my stream? How fast can I get everything set up in the background? We're about to find out. I'm zooming back here. You guys see a very calm, very demure, very mindful loading screen. I am moving. Give you a second. I'm gonna load everything up. Okay. Get this going. Here. Open this up. Great. That's good. Wonderful. Just open. Keep this open. Great. I think that's good for now. What else is happening here? Great. Cool. 2 minutes. All right. Gonna take a sip of tea. Give me a second and I'll get back on the mic. 2 seconds. For anyone waiting in chat, I do have a prompt in the bottom left corner. If you want to ponder on it as I'm setting up in the background, what's your favorite thing at your local mall to do, to eat, to visit? If you guys have a local mall, not everywhere has malls, but I grew up within 5 minutes walking distance to one. So I have plenty of experiences with at least the setting of this world I'm imagining. I too was once a mall kid. I know very little about this game, but it has been recommended more than a few times, so I'm really looking forward to diving into it. Okay. Pretzels are rather nice. That's good. Tacoma Mall is sadly not that great, but we love Tacoma anyway. I feel like there's a certain point in your life where you have to, unfortunately, outgrow your mall. And there's a point where it becomes less fun than you remember it being. But that's a rite of passage and not a slight against you or the mall. It's simply the existence of life. All right, welcome to the stream. Matthew Gravelin says, if you're in Seattle, though, one of the pre-written malls in the base game is a spoof of Westlake Mall from about 15 years ago. Fantastic. wait until the future when your kids or someone else's kids describe the mall as a fantasy location. I mean, you're right. I'm just gonna switch to the fireplace for now as we're jumping in. You're so right on the money that I don't know if malls will survive in another 50 years. They might just be replaced by online shopping. They might prove to be unsustainable. I don't know what the future holds, but I know I spend a lot less time in the mall. Hey everybody, welcome to the 99 More stream. We are back at it again on game 52 of 99 tabletop RPGs that we are learning and reading for the first time here live on the stream. Happy to have the author in chat. Say hi to Matthew Gravelin, the person who made the game. Where's this transition? Bang! Mall Kids. Mall Kids, a game about teens and malls. This was a game that I ran into physically by buying from Indie Press Revolution. As I went to Gen Con 6 weeks ago. Yeah, I'm not dating myself, right? 6 weeks ago? Yeah. I had the idea to run a little mini game, unfortunately unsanctioned by the Gen Con people, so I had to be a little bit on the down low, but I was giving away indie tabletop RPGs that I bought in a set of like a dozen or two from Indie Press Revolution, and they sent me a whole list of games of tabletop RPGs that I could grab, that I could buy. I bought them, and they gave me a whole list of what they had available, and of the list of stocks of 20 to 50 to 100 copies of these games, Mall Kids very specifically had one copy remaining, a single copy. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what this game is, but clearly someone has bought the other 19 copies. So I really hope that this copy is still in stock for when I buy my whole bundle. So I bought like 15 to 20 tabletop RPGs that I could give out during Gen Con. One of them was Mall Kids, and it was picked up like, I believe, third or fourth from the pile. Someone saw it and grabbed it, and it was gone before I even got a chance to open it. That said, today we're going to get into it. We're going to learn more about Mall Kids. We're going to see what kind of game this is. I've heard a lot of recommendations of this game in particular. I've heard of it multiple times in reference from covering a lot of other games within the same space. Kids on Bikes is one that's often linked to Mall Kids tangentially. You may know the author, Matthew Gravelin, from previous work on The Deck of Many, on Humblewood, on, oh my gosh, what's that other one? He worked with Hit Point Press. There's a good amount of things that have already have this author's signature on it, and this will be one of their more well-known works. So thank you to IPR for introducing me to this game. Thank you for the permission to showcase this game. I'm not going to show the whole book. I'm just going to show enough that we can get an idea for how it plays out and what we can learn from it in case we play this game or other games similar to it or similar to the space. The whole point of this stream is not to teach you the whole game, but to introduce you to all the games that could exist out there. So let's jump over, and this is not going to show the right thing. I'm almost certain of it. Go to this thing. Yep. Okay, I can fix that. Let me just turn that on. Fantastic. Mall Kids. Mall Kids you can find on itch.io. That's where I find most of my tabletop RPGs. This game you can buy on itch.io, the digital PDF, for $5 USD, or you could also buy what I bought was the Mall Kids bundle, which includes the game as well as a number of different expansions for the game, which includes a holiday expansion, more malls, more kids, Commonwealth Records, Mall Kids Oracle, and Mall Kids Not Your Average Mall. This is available on itch.io. This is what I grabbed. Matthew Gravelin did send me a copy, so I'm going to figure out how to give that away sometime during this week. Maybe I'll post a community post, and whoever posts something cool about their local mall will get this copy. I'll send them the link to that. But we're going to read the preview here. There's already a bunch of actual plays and reviews. I just watched this video like 20 minutes ago by, I believe it's Roll for Initiative, so a creator in the space who is wonderful. And there's a bunch of stuff down here. You can see a bunch of reviews. This has been around for 5 years. Lots of feedback already. So let's read this opening paragraph. Then we're going to jump into the PDF and go down from there. Oh, that's my spiel. Let me take a breath. I'm still sick from Gen Con. I promise I'll go to a doctor sooner rather than later. This has been going for a while. Okay, let's read. Mall Kids is a simple tabletop role. Mall Kids is a simple role. Try it again. Mall Kids is a simple tabletop role-playing game about teens who work at a mall and the events that make up their daily lives. You won't be fighting monsters, probably, or saving captured royalty, most likely, but you will be interacting with your friends to collaboratively tell a story about how rebellious teens deal with the brute force of consumer-based capitalism. Art for Mall Kids was done by Caitlin Bruder, I think. Find more of their work at brudercaitlin.com. Let's peer at that real quick. This is the person who worked on all the art in Mall Kids. Fantastic. Illustration. Quick preview of things that they have done before. Awesome. I'm just going to scroll down and see if there's anything I specifically recognize. This looks really good. What the heck? Oh, look. There's like a little thing here. Wait, I want to open this up. This is the total detour. What games are here? We have Covered Flying Circus. That's one we recognize. We know about Cypher System. I don't think we've covered it on the stream. The Stars Are Fire? I don't know what that is. This is actually really cool. Okay, sorry. I'm getting distracted. Let's bounce back over to the game. And I believe that's all for the intro. There's an example of a playthrough right here. And of course, a mention of the expansions for Mall Kids. So if you want to buy the game like I did in zine form to give away, you can go to, I'm hoping this leads to Indie Press Revolution. This is exactly the people I bought it from. You can buy a physical version for $10, which is awesome. Now, let's get into the game. Matthew Gravelin says, Caitlin has also been on quite a few APs you might know her from. That's awesome. Okay, let's jump into the game. I feel like I'm moving too quickly, but I really shouldn't. Oh, look, it's Sam Lee. Awesome. Big fan. Okay, let's jump in. Mall Kids. Let's get a little bit zoom in on here. Stellar. Can I shrink this? I guess not. Okay, maybe fit to page. Nope, fit to width. There we go. Everyone knows the mall. A constant stream of consumers occupies these stores, everyone looking for goods and services, entertainment, and distractions. They find these things and more in the varied businesses that exist only to serve them. There's something, however, that they never see. A secret world that exists in the back rooms and access hallways. For the employees, the mall is an entirely different experience, an existence filled with menial, unfulfilling tasks and soul-crushing monotony. It is here, with these downtrodden and overlooked teens, that we find our story. Okay. The point. You are a teen employee at a local mall. You struggle between wanting to earn a paycheck and sticking it to the man. It is the space between that you will explore. During the game, you will create a scenario that will play out over the course of a single day and explore the mall as the teen employees who work there. Mall Kids is a tabletop storytelling game for 2 to 6 players, okay, and is intended to be played in a single 2 to 4 hour session. Okay, you can come back to your characters for another adventure, creating a campaign style of play, but there is no experience, leveling, or any of that business. This game is played without a GM. Okay, that was going to be my next question. 2 to 6 player games usually have some sort of game master at the helm, but this will be without a game master. Let's see how that is played out. No one person will be running the game. It is recommended that at least one person be familiar with all the rules to handle questions. Ultimately, if all players buy into telling a story together, the game is run by your collective imagination. You will need pencils and paper, 3 6-sided dice, okay, 3d6, these rules, and optional printed character sheets. Do we have character sheets here? We do. Cool. So we could check this out soon. Oh wait, it's just... Let's see if they touch on this in the reading. We'll come back to this. All you need for a character sheet is a scrap of paper or use one of the character sheets at the end of the zine. Feel free to copy these for your personal use You can also download character sheets at mrmatthew.itch.io/mksheets. Okay. Safety. Mall Kids is a game about children. Virtually every character in the game is an underage child and should be treated as such. Topics such as romance, drugs, testing social structures, and exploring power dynamics are within the scope of this game, but should be approached respectfully and with explicit consent of all players. I recommend Lines and Veils from the Tabletop RPG Safety Toolkit to facilitate this. That makes a lot of sense. This is also in Kids on Bikes and Kids on Brooms. You have to step into this mental territory that you are playing as kids, and as such, obviously certain topics are off limits. Always make sure you guys run some sort of precursor to the game or a session 0 and make sure everybody's on the same page about what these kids are cool to do. This game is clearly based on a slice of life scenario rather than something inappropriate or gory or things like that. So Lines and Veils, so important. We mention this every stream for every game. You should respectfully and earnestly explore being a kid in a mall. If your goal is to exploit, endanger, or abuse minors, this game is not for you. Additionally, if players are a mix of adults and minors, it is recommended to omit themes of romance and sexuality or to fade to black when they come up. This makes a whole lot of sense. I think there's certainly a discussion. I don't want to say there's like a what do you call it? Like a disagreement on this, but there aren't too many games focused on entertaining young adults or minors at the table, right? A lot of games are made with adults in mind, and obviously this layer of maturity and consent. Games specifically designed for kids have this innate thing that shouldn't need to be explained, but obviously should be considered. Make sure the game's appropriate. Make sure the people playing that understand that there are kids at the table. I do like that this is here. Really appreciate it. Narrative control. Players will be taking turns setting and narrating scenes. Oh, okay, so this is how it's gonna play out without a game master. So it'll kind of be round table scene setting. We had something similar to this, I think, in, was it Cantrip by Hippolyta? Where there is no, I'm not sure if that's the one, but where there is no game master, but you have someone in charge of the scene, or basically narrating the scene, but still kind of participating in it. So they would be not only a character, but also like the observer who makes sure the scene is, an environment is being set. Cantrip is another game. It's like a Little Witch Academia type energy. A school for young witches, which also appeals to the younger demographic. So it has similar themes in that. It's more of a collaborative story that doesn't touch on many of the darker topics. Splotchy Inc. says, I disagree with that. Maybe not young kids, but in my mid-teens, it was a Vampire the Masquerade game. Absolutely. I'm not saying that like people under the age of 18 should be in that's not the word. Excluded. Should not be excluded from like themes of horror or gore or violence, but that's very much something you opt into. It's not something you surprise them with, so to speak, right? Like when I was young, I was playing a whole lot of really spooky stuff, and certainly participating in like darker themes in my favorite fantasy games. I grew up with like Gauntlet Legends. I don't know if that's considered dark, but it's like a collaborative game where your characters throw knives and bombs and try to beat up a whole horde of monsters. So like it's not that minors can't handle it, it's just that you have to make sure you have their express permission to delve into those topics. So yeah, when I was a kid, no stranger to wargaming and all that. Let's see. All right. Players will be taking turns setting and narrating scenes. It is important that each player be in control of the story being told. You can offer the active player suggestions, but Mall Kids requires you to step back occasionally and let others lead. Be respectful, offering your friends space and freedom. Be supportive, helping clarify rules and answering questions. Be a fan, cheering your friends on and validating their experiences. When you are narrating a scene, Be respectful if you include another character. Do not take away that player's agency by demanding or requiring action. Instead, ask questions and invite other players to contribute to your scene on their turns. Matthew Gravelin in chat says, well, after writing Mall Kids, I started referring to this element as equitable narrative control, or the game explicitly giving space for all characters to contribute. I think this is a really good way to run the game. I do say in my own experience that there are some players who are, when presented to this, uncomfortable with the idea of leading a scene. In the same way, like if you're trying to get your friend to DM a game in D&D, they'll always be kind of daunted by taking charge or taking the lead role in that. But there's a lot of games that really make that process more seamless than you would expect, that make it easier to process than many would let on. I like that term. What is it we said? Equitable narrative control. Yeah, it would be fantastic if you just allow other players less used to the idea of sitting in the lead role, so to speak, and just give them the opportunity to jump into that seat without the pressures of understanding all the rules and all the adjudications that they have to make. And through that, it becomes a lot less daunting, surely. Let's see here. Safety tools. There are many great safety tools, too many to account for in this text. My recommendation is you read as many as you can and find the right combination for you and the people you are playing with. ttrpg Safety Toolkit is a resource created by Kenna Shaw and Lauren Bryant Monk. The Safety Toolkit is a compilation of safety tools that have been designed by members of the tabletop role-playing games community for use by players and GMs at the table. You can find it here at this link. I'm going to open that later. I'll open that later. Oh, I guess it's open now. Great. Fantastic. What we usually use in the Safety Toolkit is the X cards, most commonly, and the lines and veils. I don't know if that's available here, but certainly could be. Let me see. Tools and resources. Yeah, X card we're used to. Buddy system I've never heard of. That could be neat. Yeah, I didn't realize this was a thing. Just available. It's good to know. But yeah, at the very base, I'd recommend X card and lines and veils. I've used it to great effect in almost every game I've started post 2022 when I learned about it. A very useful resource to just get everybody on the same page about the themes and motifs of the game. There is something someone sent me a while back that's it's been floating around the internet. I forget what it's. I think it's the RPG consent checklist, and it just lists a whole lot of things that players might find uncomfortable, as an example. So very real dark themes in real life, and you can check off things and things that you'd rather fade to black in or completely X out. And the game master gathers all those papers, combines them into one sheet, and then presents it to the full group without disclosing who is troubled by what. It's a great way to maintain people's privacy and what issues bother them, but also allowing the game to not tread on those boundaries. I think it's the RPG consent checklist. I've used it 2 or 3 times now. Did I entirely tab out of the game? I think I did. Here we go. Here we go. We're right here. From chat, I'm gonna read what Matthew Gravelin says because he is the author. I think his input is super important for perspective. The narrative control isn't necessarily that each player needs to be a full-on GM. Sometimes a player's scene could just be a quick narration about something happening, or even a player asking a question about what other players' characters are doing, so they're not actually in the scene. It's not about requiring certain types of play, just making sure the narrative control is there, whatever that means to each player. Yeah, it could be as simple as asking them who would be, or just checking with their friends who would be here, what might they be doing. It's not necessarily establishing the entire environment as much as it is just making sure everybody's on the same page about the situation that's going on. So, to each individual player's comfort zone as to how much they want to set up. So with that said, let's jump into character creation and see what this looks like. We have the character sheets here once we're done, so we'll tap into that in just a second. Your character. First, each player creates a character to embody during the game. Here's what you need to describe about your character to get started. Character's names and pronouns, look, hair, eyes, build, style, clothing, accessories, attitude. Roll 1 die for each of the questions below to randomly create your character's background. Alternatively, you can just choose one from each section or make it all up. It's your life, you do you. Okay, so what I want to do here is I'm gonna roll randomly for who are you and what do you want, but I'll tap into you guys for where my character works. So it could be one of these 6, or it could be something entirely different. But I'm gonna roll for who are you and what do you want, and we'll leave the last one up to chance. So let's pull up a dice roller as we do. One of these days, I'm gonna get a better dice roller that's not just Google. One of these days. I'm a professional. I should have something built into this stream that just lets me roll, you know? But I'm gonna roll who are you from 1 to 6. 1. Okay, I am a prep. Fantastic. What do you want? Let's roll that. 3. Okay, what do I want? Ask someone out. Okay. Goal of who am I? A prep. What do you want? Ask someone out. Where do I work? I'm leaving that up to you guys. You guys have to tell me where I work. Okay? Just need to set up a webcam that's pointed at a dice screen. There's things more meant for streaming. What is it? Is it DD dice? Is that a thing? Still? No, it's not DDD dice? Yeah, it's this thing. So like this is something I might try to set up in the future. It's just like an overlay of dice. And like I'll buy a really nice one, I guess. I gotta figure out how it works though. So I'm just gonna Mango Cheesecake says Cheesecake Factory. Are there shops that sell latex weapons? In a mall? Spencer's? Maybe? I remember I bought kind of like on a whim on a random May day. Okay, I'm not gonna give free advertising to this place. On a random day in May, I think I walked into a Party City and just bought like a 5-foot tall axe. I still have it in my room, even though I bought it like 15 years ago. It's pretty tall and made entirely of plastic, but if you're just looking for like a play toy weapon, Party City is probably where I would go for that. I think thumper means foam latex. Well, I don't know. I don't know where to find foam weapons. Party City in my region is 5 below. Things that are $5 or under. Welcome, Project Matrix. Nice to see you here. Welcome to the stream. So wait, I don't know exactly what a prep is. What is a prep in school? Oh, I don't want AI answer. No, what is a prep kid in school? Preppy. Oh, American subculture associated with the alumni of college preparatory schools in the northeastern United States. The term, which is abbreviation for preparatory, is used to denote a person seen as characteristic of a student or alumnus of these schools. That doesn't seem right. We can do better. Prep. Stereotype. Characteristics of preppy individuals include a particular subcultural speech, vocabulary, dress, mannerisms, and etiquette reflective of an upper class and old money upbringing. Oh. A 1902 illustration of a Columbia University student containing many of the attributes stereotypically associated with preppy subculture. Okay, so this is a prep. Oh, I get it. It's the... I don't want to say snooty, but it's the ones that look like they came from a private school before arriving at your public school. Prep students. Fantastic. Hoity-toity, rich kid, popular. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay. getting some great ideas from chat, but I'm going to settle on this. My character is a prep. So he comes from a little bit of money, lives on the upper hills of the general region, of the general town, the richer neighborhoods with the wide lawns and the long driveways. That's where I come from. What I want, ask someone out. How I'm going to do that solo on a stream, I don't know, but that will be the goal of my character. I have someone in mind, obviously, and I got to ask someone out. Where I work in the mall. Okay, Mango Cheesecake, I do love your idea for Cheesecake Factory, but I think you're being outvoted here. I think everyone wants me to be in a toy store that sells foam weapons. So I don't think it's a superior... QV Master, the Spirit Halloween store popped up like just last week. There's this massive it's not Barnes and Noble. I think it might be. There's a massive Barnes and Noble. No, it's the Rite Aid. There's a massive Rite Aid right next to a massive Barnes and Noble, which became a school. Both of those shut down recently because the property tax is way too high, and the Rite Aid recently became a Spirit Halloween. And like clockwork, the Spirit Halloween somehow scrounges up enough money this year to rent out a store for all of a month and sell all of their Halloween supply before they disappear in November. Truly an American icon, Spirit Halloween. I'm not. Would they overlap with the popular role? No, I think popular is like. Popular kids don't have to be rich. They just have to be popular. So they could be like incredibly charismatic, like student president. They could be leader of key club or some cool athlete. It's not exactly jock because jocks aren't by default popular. They're just athletic. But popular students stand out from the crowd by being like the shining example of a student. Or at least how everyone wants to be. A little bit of overlap with prep. They could also be a prep. They could also be a jock cheerleader. Much more rarely stoner, nerd, scene kid. But yeah. So I'm going to say we work in a kids toy store. We work in a kids toy store. A little bit off brand from what we're used to. Not exactly ideal for my my rich upbringing, but I of course will eventually enter college and join into some sort of degree in finance and work my way to Wall Street and become rich just like my parents. But this stepping stone, obviously, high school experience, no big deal. Everyone knows that KB Toys is up and coming and will be a great player in the financial era of the aughts moving forward. So I'm gonna work in a KB Toys. For people who don't know what KB Toys is, it's already in chat. Prep kid who works in KB Toys and wants to ask someone out. That's my character. For people who don't know what KB Toys is, I think you're too young. I'm gonna be honest. If you don't know what KB Toys is, it's a now defunct toy store that almost definitely sold foam swords. So that's where I'm working. Prep kids get driven about by a family servant. They could. They could also have their own car. Some states allow people to drive at the age of 16, right? Maybe just keeping up a preppy facade, but the family is now broke. I think that's fair. I think a rich kid wouldn't necessarily find themselves working at a mall unless their parents were either stingy with their money and didn't let the kid tap into those riches, or their name is famous or they're tangentially related to a famous person, but they don't have the wealth. It's like if people grew up knowing that I was related to Beyonce, right? But I don't have Beyonce money. But I gotta keep up the facade that I have Beyonce money. So I need a job, right? I need to be able to pay for things. I think that's what's happening. I'm not super rich, but I try to pretend like I am. I say, Kiwi Master says, I say you work there because your crush does. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I got the job at KB Toys. Can we pull up a notepad so we can get this? Let me just make sure there's nothing incriminating on my notepad before I load it up. Let me just make sure. Great, cool. Notepad, I need you. Wow, there's a lot of incriminating things. Okay, hold on. Let me just do that. There you are. Hello, notepad. Oh my gosh, I grabbed the wrong thing. How do I put you back? There. Notepad. I'm grabbing you and you specifically. Great. You're too big. Why are you massive? Here, take that. Okay. Notepad. Who are we? Prep kid. Prep kid. That's good. KB Toys worker wants to ask out coworker. Probably. I think that's fair. Pretends. I just realized I don't need to make everything capitalized. Pretends to be rich, but not really. Okay. This is what we're working with, guys. This is what we're working with. I think that's good, right? This is our character so far. Why is the font so big? I gotta shrink this. We gotta read a PDF today. This is my character. Okay, last thing from chat. I need a name. Give me a name for this guy. Or girl, whatever name works for you. We're gonna let me see. We just need some sort of cool name for this rad KB Toys worker. I love how I don't have to worry about worry about brand names or like slandering the name of KB Toys because they're defunct. They don't exist. KB Toys is gone. Dust in the wind. As you guys check out name suggestions in chat, I'm going to keep reading just so we have a little bit more about this. Oh, people are coming with names. I'll just wait a little bit. You can add as much extra detail as you want, like who you're crushing on, your home life, or your favorite subject in school. Once everyone has created their characters, take turns introducing them. The more you share, the more opportunities there will be for your character to interact with the other kids. After introductions, go around the table again and describe one relationship your character has with another character. Give this depth so you can draw on it later. Jot this down on your character sheets. Don't try to define every relationship. It's interesting to figure it out as you go. Okay, again, we're playing this solo. We have nobody else here. So we're not going to do character links, but this is one of my favorite things that I first learned from the game Masks. Masks I've spoken about so many times already. Literally my favorite, one of my favorite tabletop RPGs. Only played it. It's my third most played tabletop RPG behind D&D 5e, of course, that from my history. And recently Kids on Brooms. I've been playing a whole lot of Kids on Brooms lately. And right behind that is Masked, which is a teenage superhero game. And this was my favorite thing I picked up from it. That when you do character creation, when you do character introductions, just start with at least one link to another character. Start with some sort of previous relationship, whether it be friends, cousins, acquaintances from school or work, something to link you in, just so you have that context and feel more anchored to the world. My absolute favorite thing. I bring it to every single game I run now. So, looking at chat. This is my love letter to the question to your left, but a little bit looser. Yeah, thank you so much. Oh, there's some good Tony Winter. I'd like Tony Winter. It does seem a little bit old. I know all Tonys were once young, right? I only met Tonys in college. I think when I was in high school, I knew a guy named Anthony, but we called him Ant. That was his nickname, Ant. I didn't call anybody Tony until I met one in college who only went by Tony. Tony Winter, and I have Brad Charles Howard, Willoughby. I do like a Willoughby. I'm liking how rich and posh Willoughby sounds. Harold Haversham's pretty good too. I think I'm gonna go with My name for this game is Charles Winter Willoughby. Most people call me Charlie. Yeah, that checks out. Excellent. Good job, me. Pat on the back. We're gonna roll with Charles Winter Willoughby, prep kid, KB Toys worker, wants to ask out coworker, question mark, pretends to be rich but not really. That's fantastic. We're gonna roll with that. Thank you guys for your input. That's who we're playing. I've been working at this KB Toys for all of 6 months. I actually got referred here by the person I'm crushing on, and how could I say no? I applied to the job. They grilled me, but they really needed somebody to work to work the evening shift after school. So I was a perfect fit for that. I could work during the weekday, like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, just after school. And it was perfect because my coworker works the same hours, and it just lined up that I would see them at least 2 times a week. Perfect situation for me. Home life, you know what? At home, I don't really spend much time with my family. They're usually out and about. My dad does a lot of business trips, and my mom works at a law firm, so she's often staying late at night to work on cases. My favorite subject in school, obviously, is there's this like cooking class elective where we get to use a whole oven and actually make food. I've been working on making this perfect cheesecake that I plan to give to my coworker somewhere around Christmas. So I've been practicing quite a bit. I tried to put in mango, it wasn't working out, so I just settled on different kinds of cheese. Not sure which one works best, but we'll find out by December. And that is my character, and I'm sticking to it. People connect me to the more famous Tony Winter. Tony Winter, of course, is an award-winning movie star who has starred in films like Snowpiercer and The Santa Claus. And Tony Winter is incredibly famous, and my name is, in fact, Charles Winter Willoughby. He is my uncle, twice removed, but we are still related, and of course, I'm just as rich, naturally, as my my uncle twice removed, Tony Winter. But with that said, I'm going to go to my job at KB Toys, a completely functional toy store. I am in charge of the toy section. I take very much pride in the organization of the foam weapons in the back. And you can stop by if you want. I work Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. That's my character. Let's see what we do with it. The scenario. Now it's time to create the mall your teen weirdos work at. This includes deciding what the big action taking place today is. This can be a collective goal for your teens, or just something that is happening around the characters. You can focus as much or as little on this action as you want, but it will always be there in the background. Take turns rolling a die for each of the tables below if you want to randomly generate an experience, or simply choose your own adventure. Use as much or as little of these suggestions, and feel encouraged to use your own ideas. You can also check out some pre-made malls in the back of the book. Pre-made malls? That's neat. Okay, which mall? We're gonna roll for all of these, okay? Which mall? Dice roller, where are you? D6. 4. Fancy mall. Okay, we got a fancy mall with a KB Toys. Great. What's going on? Dice roller, don't fail me now. What's going on? 5. A secret shopper. A secret shopper at the fancy mall? And who's messing stuff up? 5. Someone's boss. Art caught me by surprise. Okay. We are at a fancy mall that has a secret shopper, and someone's boss is messing stuff up. Okay. What I think is happening here is that award-winning movie star Tony Winters is on his way to arrive at said fancy mall. And of course, me, as his nephew, very much expects him to walk into my store, buy something cool, chat me up, and really impress my coworker, who I can then afterwards, after I looked awesome with my uncle, I can ask her out. And I think that'd be so cool. But my boss keeps throwing me into the back rooms to sort boxes where I'm not going to run into my really cool uncle. So I have to figure out a way to sneak out and make sure that I can arrive in a place or just be standing in a place where I could catch my uncle wandering through the mall and invite him in. I need to give him a reason to come to KB Toys and make me look cool next to my really great coworker. A secret shopper is I'm guessing somebody who wants to stay low key. It's like when celebrities step into public areas with like a blazer and a baseball cap and some sunglasses and really try to downplay how famous they really are. I don't know if that means something different, but that's what I understand it as. Matthew Grevlin says secret shopper is someone paid to visit a store and sort of test the employees, ask questions, buy stuff, and rates the performance for corporate. Oh, that's even worse. I understand. Who's messing stuff up? Someone's boss. Well, can the secret shopper also be okay. I got it. My uncle, Tony Winters. You all know Tony Winters from movies like Snowpiercer and The Santa Claus. Tony Winters is scoping out the next mall he's going to film his action thriller Deck the Halls this coming December. And he's stopping by our local mall, which again is very fancy and would look really good in a lot of Christmas decorations, to see if this mall is the premier destination filming environment for his next movie, right? But obviously he can't just show up here and be Tony Winters. He's got to be secret. He's got to report back to his director and say, hey, this is the mall we got to film at. So the rumor's going around that they're scoping out this mall. They don't know who. I have the inside scoop that it's going to be my uncle looking around. And I really want this to be my cool moment where I could say to my coworker, hey, by the way, this is my cool uncle, Tony Winters, totally related to me, someone who's just as cool. By the way, want to go out sometime. That's the plan. And it's going to work perfectly. All I got to do is figure out what time he arrives and make sure he swings by KB Toys so I have this cool, awesome moment. That's my pitch for a character. My name is Charles Winter Willoughby, and that is my goal for today. Okay, that's the prompt. So this would be an example of just what to do with the session, you know? Just an idea for what everybody who would be gathering in the mall at their respective jobs, what would be going on to make you guys all collaborate and do something cool. So even though this is my personal story happening here, maybe it's just my turn to tell a story, or it could be someone else setting up my character to have a cool story, but everybody else's character would also be trying to do something to interact with this, whether it be landing some sort of ad deal, or showing up in the movie themselves, or getting a cool like TikTok with Tony Winters. You know, everybody has their own goals for what's happening today, and it doesn't have to be showing off your cool uncle, you know? So even though this is like a scenario that highlights one person's backstory, it can also be a moment that everybody can interact with. So Thumper says, isn't your uncle really into method acting? He sure is. So he's going to arrive on the scene super grizzled and dark. He's going to have a couple makeup scars on his face because he just jumped out of a helicopter like one scene ago, and he's really got to chase down the dude he's looking for inside the mall. So he's got to wander around and really hunt this guy down, but also not draw too much attention to himself, because again, he's not only just a celebrity, he's also playing this super beat up detective. Method acting, absolutely happening. My boss is chucking me in the back, and if I stay in the back rooms the entire shift, I'm never going to run into my uncle. The day. We're going to continue onwards. The day, let me get some tea actually. Okay. The game takes place during a single day. I feel like I was rambling for a little there. The game takes place during a single day and is broken up into a series of beats: opening, morning, lunch, evening, closing, after hours. During a beat, you will each take turns being the active player. When you are the active player, you will frame a scene, what to focus on, where the scene takes place, and at least 2 characters involved. These players then describe how their characters play out the scene. Below are some ideas to consider during each beat. Opening. Define a group goal, talk about what's happening, make promises. This is good. I like that. I like... very Weekend Cartoons energy. This is very Phineas and Ferb, if you know what I'm talking about. It's like stepping into the day with a goal in mind, with a vision of how the day is gonna go, and then watching it like play out and meet the harsh truth of reality is like classic Sunday morning cartoons. Morning, get to work, learn something new, create a plan. This is the execution phase. You got an idea of what you want to do. This is how you do it. Lunch, take a break, vent about work, progress your goals. Evening, wind down the day, check in on your goals, keep or break promises. True. This is good. Closing, last customers, final thoughts, changing your mind, and after hours. Finally off the clock, last chances, calling it a day. Okay. So if this was a scene that I was in charge of, during each of these beats, while other people are progressing on their own things, I would quietly or like subtly make sure that my plan is still going in place. Obviously you don't want to hog the spotlight the entire time, but you do want to be able to give your character a time in the sun when possible, and see if it aligns with anybody else's goals. Because if your plan helps somebody else's plan come to fruition, you guys want to team up. You're gonna want to collab on those kind of things. So, if one of my friends is like looking for a selfie, then I'm going to work with them to rendezvous with my uncle, because that's my goal anyway. So we might as well travel together, you know. So as I understand it, each of these is a scene. Now, this is just a window of time, right? This is a window of time, and each player gets to be the active player and describe what they're doing, who they're talking to, what they're focusing on. Okay, so it's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 beats times the number of players to dictate the rotation of who's leading the scene at any given time. Play the scene as short or long as you want. If the action seems to be getting stale, it's okay to suggest an end to the scene. Always keep it interesting. The beat ends after each player has framed a scene. This is also a great time to ask clarifying questions or discuss scenes that may have taken place outside of these scenes. When everyone's happy with the story, move on to the next beat. If you'd like to play a shorter game, you can skip morning and evening. Oh, okay, so you could do opening, lunch, closing, after hours. That checks out. If you want to mix things up while framing a scene, you can roll a die on one of the following tables to add some excitement to the story. Yeah, let's try this out. This is another D6. What is that? One, a loud sound. Now what? Someone's missing. Is it Tony Winters? Yeah, that would be a fun twist if everybody is expecting this celebrity to arrive, and then throughout the day he's just entirely absent. Could be interesting. You could find him caught up in something more intense. Okay, neat. I am curious if this does have like... So I guess the last thing I'd want to know about this game is if... how they deal with uncertain elements, right? In most games, you would like roll a die or flip a card, and it would allow a little bit of randomness to enter into the game. So I'm assuming that's what's coming up next. Matthew Gravelin puts an example in chat. Absolutely. Something like that would be so fun. And then the game becomes, oh, we have to find Tony Winters. It's not like, oh, he's on his way. It's more like, oh, he's entirely disappeared. This could be bad. Okay, for stats, you have two stats, corporate and cred. Both start at 3. You'll use corporate when you want to do good work, impress a customer, deal with management, or follow the rules. You use cred when you want to fit in with other employees, do something sneaky, abuse your power, or break the rules. 2 stat. This, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of lasers and feelings, where the 2 stats are lasers and feelings. Like one stat is lasers, one stat is feelings. Yeah, let's see how this works. Action and rolling. When you do something risky or are uncertain of how it will turn out, describe your actions and roll 1 die. Compare the result to your relevant stat. If the result is less than the stat, you succeed. Describe how you get what you want. Equal to the stat, things get complicated. Describe a messy situation, what your success costs you, and how you need to compromise. Greater than the stat, you fail. Describe how things go wrong. If you roll a 6, things are much, much worse. Mall Kids is very much based on Honey Heist. Oh, okay. Cool. I see. We did cover a Grant Howitt game. What did we cover? Was it Goat Crashers? Is Goat Crashers Grant Howitt? Goat Crashers. It sure is. This is the game we read. I wonder if it's this. Let me just download it. I'm pretty sure I downloaded it like a year ago. We're gonna take a quick. Okay, that's gonna take a while. Let's wait. But yeah, familiar with his games. We didn't quite. Let me see. Does this have 2 stats? No, it's just as a chaos pool. No, it's an entirely different game. Okay, never mind. But this is the one we covered by Grant Howitt. But a lot of people are more familiar with Honey Heist actually because it's appeared on Critical Role. Cool. Let's find out how we deal with uncertain situations. When you do, we just read this. So less than the stat, you succeed. Equal to the stat, things get complicated. Greater than the stat, you fail. Okay, so the lower the better. And here, both start at 3. So this implies that the numbers are going to change somehow. Let's find out how that works. If you are doing something related to your background, roll an extra die and take the lowest result. Okay, that's 2 dice. If someone helps out, you roll another extra die and they describe what their help looks like. So this is the 3d6 that was mentioned earlier in the game. They are also exposed to any complications, costs, or failure as a result of your roll. The most dice you can roll at once is 3, but multiple people can help if it's narratively interesting to do so. Modifying stats. Okay, so this is what we were looking for. After you roll for an action, decide if either of the following statements are true and adjust your stats accordingly. When you succeed by perfectly executing a plan or following the rules, move 1 point from cred to corporate. When you find success in chaos or impulsiveness by breaking the rules, move 1 point from corporate to cred. Once per beat, each player can choose to voluntarily move a point from one stat to the other. To do this, you need to describe a short scene. You can act out the scene with other players, if that makes sense, and it's interesting to everyone at the table. Okay, so 3-3. So the worst or best you can get is a 1 stat at 1 and 1 stat at 5. So you can never really get to 6 for a perfect success. Which means that if the lowest stat you can get is a 1, then you can entirely no longer succeed, and you can only with a 1 as one of this as either corporate or cred. With a 1 you can almost guarantee that every situation is messy, and with a 5 you have a really high chance of succeeding, but there's no way to eliminate a possible 6 roll. So as high as your rolls can go or as high as your stats can go, there's always a chance of failure. It's almost like, for people less familiar, I suppose, it's like rolling a natural one in a lot of D20 systems, where no matter how high your modifiers are, it's impossible to overcome the simple fact that nat one is a failure. This would be the same way, where a 6 on the die is irredeemable. Okay, so this part is describing how you can, after each beat, voluntarily change one number up in exchange for lowering the other number. You can voluntarily move 1 point from cred to corporate by taking on more responsibilities or publicly agreeing with someone in power. Describe how you do this. Does this negatively affect your reputation with other employees? You can voluntarily move 1 point from corporate to cred by publicly blowing off your responsibilities or calling someone out in power. Describe how you do this. Does this negatively affect your or impact your job? So, yeah. Okay, so there are... Okay, I understand. So there's 2 ways to modify your number. Basically, during successes, when you roll lower than your current value, you can increase the relevant stat. So by perfectly executing a plan, you can raise corporate. By finding success in chaos, you can raise cred. And then on once per beat, you can voluntarily, without having to roll, move from cred to corporate through actions made by your character. Okay, I think I'm connecting the dots here. If your corporate stat reaches 6, oh, you can reach 6. Does that turn your other one into 0? I'm not crazy, right? Let me see. Let me think about this. So you start at 3, right? So if you're 3, 3, you can make that 2, 4, and then 1, 5. So you could do 0, 6? Is that possible? I guess it is. So if you do 0, 6, there's no minimum, right? If your corporate stat reaches 6, you sell out and buy into what the man is selling. If your cred stat reaches 6, you give everyone the finger and walk out. Either way, you max out and are no longer working with the group. You may even be actively opposing them. Oh, you become a chaotic and unpredictable force in the mall. Okay, so you basically NPC yourself if you ever reach 6 on any value. So, in other games, this would be running out of hit points, or it would be going full conditions in mask, or you would be maxing out your stress. By hitting this threshold, you exclude yourself from the rest of the game, simply by preface of you can't handle, or you've totally aligned with one side or the other and are no longer flexible. I see. Okay, so we were saying that it wasn't possible to get to 6, but now it says right here that you can. Makes a lot of sense to me. Oh, there's more to it? Oh, there it is right there. Okay, you should finish reading out and maxing out session first. Thank you so much. I don't know Colt. I don't know Colt the Game Thumper, but I'm guessing so. This seems like a game where you can max out a certain stat. I'm assuming you don't want to, because that just means you're excluded from the functions, or I guess maybe you just turn villain for the sake of the story and become this hyper focused being of one ideal. I don't know if that's what happens in Colt, but it sounds like something similar. Cool. Okay, the end. The game ends after the last scene of the after hours beat. Alternatively, if half or more of the players have maxed out, or any time in the game is no longer exciting or interesting, you might want to call it quits. It's your story to start, finish, or redo as you see fit. At the end of the game, each player takes a turn briefly describing their character leaving the mall. That's nice. Focus on how they feel about the events of the day, how they have changed, or what plans for their future are. Talk about how they accomplished their goals or shifted their priorities. Discuss how relationships changed or stayed the same. This is your moment to make a statement and strut across the football field, jamming your fist in the air, Judd Nelson style. Is this a Breakfast Club reference? I guess so. What's next? Well, you can all go about your day, satisfied that you created something special and unique together, or you could start over again. Play different characters in the same mall and see how they handle the situation. But the same characters, weeks or months later, to see what they're up to. You can even make your character into a different role. You can even take your character into a different role-playing game, like Monster Hearts 2, Mask. Oh, Mask shout out. Hello. Or Urban Shadows. I did not expect to see this here. Continue their messy, complicated lives in whatever way you see fit, or let them walk into a sunlit parking lot. I like that. Like a story is encapsulated within the span of one day, and you have the decision to come back for another day, or come back as different characters, or come back at a different time. Really cool. Really nice option. Very cozy. Tips. Okay. Tips. You're on the clock today, so don't forget to do some work, or at least pretend to. There are always new and interesting people at the mall. Invent characters on the fly if you need someone to talk to. Tie scenes to what is going on in the mall at large, even if your teens are ignoring the larger consequences or responsibilities. Remember who is messing stuff up today, and bring them into scenes often. Aim to have at least one action roll per scene. The story gets interesting when something is at stake. When someone else is framing... Let me get a drink real quick. When someone else is framing a scene and you think your character should be involved, don't be afraid to suggest it. The active player still has the final say. When in doubt, do whatever sounds fun. And these are some pre-made malls and characters. Is this the rest? Is this the rest of the... Okay. Looks like we've read through all the rules, which is fantastic. So, if I may recap what we've learned here, for people who who are just arriving now and perhaps want a quick breakdown of what we learned. This game is called Mall Kids. It's about a group of 2 to 6 teenagers. Yeah, teenagers makes sense. Or young adults working at a singular mall, and they each have their respective occupations. You'll be following these 2 to 6 kids throughout their workday, from the opening morning to the closing and after hours. During this time, the mall is as active as ever, and hijinks threaten the sanctity of a normal day with something more chaotic, something more stressful. And you guys, as the mall kids in your respective gigs, have to find a way to resolve this situation while still keeping up the work you've been paid to do. There's a bunch of different ways to customize your character, or at least just give you starting beats to what your character could be, in accordance to certain stereotypes found in like high school movies and the typical stores you would find in a mall. And you can also have this list to provide you ways to describe the mall that you exist in and the special activities that are happening throughout the day. During the day, the story is split up into 6 different beats. And during each of those beats, every player gets a chance to take the active frame and display what their character is doing and who they're interacting with. In moments of uncertainty, you can roll using your 2 stats, corporate and cred. You roll a d6, and if you roll below your scores in corporate or cred, you succeed. If you meet it, it's a messy situation, so a partial success. And then if you roll above your current value number, it is a failure, and you describe what that looks like. Through active means or accidental means, when you roll, these corporate and cred numbers can modulate from a 3-3 to a 2-4 to a 1-5 and vice versa. And if you ever hit 0-6 or 6-0, you are out of the game as somebody who has fully aligned with either cred or corporate. The game ends when you guys choose to leave the mall, retire for the day, go to sleep, reflect on your wonderful day at work, and you can choose as a group to do it all over again. And that, I believe, is Mall Kids. There's a bunch of examples here for malls. I don't think I'm going to delve too far into it, but Matthew Gravelin did mention earlier in the stream that Westlake Mall is an example from Seattle, which you could tap into. It holds not only details about the mall itself, but also characters you might find to meet within the mall, which is really cool. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 example characters. Really cool. As people you might be able to meet here. This is one in Dallas. I'm just gonna scroll through. This is in SoCal, the Sprawl Mall, Irvine Spectrum. This is also SoCal. Cuba Street Mall. Cool. This is in New Zealand. No. Yes? Maybe? I see NZ here. I'm guessing New Zealand. Okay. Northdale. Northdale Mall. This is in America's Heartland. Just vaguely in the Midwest. Twin City suburbs. Cool. And this is a mall on the tropical island of Dios. A mega mall. Cool. More of an island situation. And these are the credits and thank yous. Okay. Awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, if you want to play this game, you can go to mr-matthew.itch.io/mallkids. There is a link in the description of this video. If you want to check this out, there's also a bundle that has a whole bunch of different expansions if you guys want to play in different settings or different times of the year. Let me close this. On different times of the year, this bundle is also available on itch.io. And of course, you can support Matthew Gravlin on this Twitch page as well as this itch page as well as on Twitter. You can find them there. This is a list of all the things that they have worked on in the past. Incredible work. You've almost certainly seen their pen in different works if you have been involved in the D&D sphere at all in the past 5 years. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to you, Matthew, for being here and joining us for the stream. Stay tuned to next week, probably, almost certainly, where we cover another game in the 99 More series and learn just how expansive the ttrpg world is. Thanks for tuning in. Goodbye. Is this the one? Sure is. Peace.